Hey everyone, welcome back. My name's Dustin Kreis, and today we are going to do a pickups video for February, March, and April of 2016. Did kind of get quite a lot of stuff. Not as much as I used to pick up. I used to just buy stuff like crazy, but now I guess I'm more of an adult now. I don't know what the deal is. But I did pick up some stuff. Got some games here, got some movies, and got some music. So let's go ahead and jump into what everyone kind of wants to see, starting off with the games. Picked this up a long time ago because it finally dropped down to a price that I was willing to pay. Still shrink wrapped, but that's fine. I'll play it whenever I get to it. It's not a very long game, but I did want to experience it as one of the PS4 games, and maybe we'll see if it gets a sequel or anything, or a continuation of the story, and that's The Order 1886. I think this game is only like 3 to 4 hours playing it, which kind of drove everybody nuts. But it dropped down to a price, and I kind of wanted to experience it, and I guess we'll see how it goes. I also picked up this because I really wanted to replay these games, and I figured I might as well just get the best versions out there of them. And I picked up the Metro Redux collection. Now, I've already done a game discussion on 2033. I started Last Light, but then figured I need to go play some other stuff. I'll come back to Last Light when I need a palate cleanser. But I really, really dug Metro 2033. So if you guys are looking for a really atmospheric first-person shooter, definitely check this one out. I really enjoyed my time with it. Of course, I picked up Dark Souls 3. I've already done a game discussion on it. I really enjoyed this one. The only thing is, and I might be suffering from series fatigue, and also the reused assets from Bloodborne were a little bit of a disappointment, I guess. But other than that, the gameplay is still fantastic. I am perfectly fine with them letting this rest for a while, because I feel like we've just been getting Souls games out the wazoo here lately. Or maybe it's just because I've played all them last year, but we got, Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin last year. We got Bloodborne last year. We got Dark Souls 3 this year. Salt and Sanctuary just came out, which I know is not part of the series, but at the same time. And then Neo's coming out eventually. So it feels like we have a lot of this stuff, and I kind of want to see what From Software would do with something completely different. So let it rest for a little bit. Come back really strong later on with Dark Souls 4 down the road. Let it die down a little bit, I guess. Pick this up again. Also, have done a game discussion on it. That's Fire Emblem Fates Birthright. I also downloaded Conquest, which I will start up sometime in the near future. But really enjoyed my time with this one. Maybe not as much as Awakening, because I felt like Awakening really jazzed the series up a lot and made a lot of really smart decisions with the gameplay. And Birthright is just a continuation of those changes. So, it's not the big shift of gears that I felt Awakening was, as opposed to this, which is just a really, really good continuation. But still, Fire Emblem, it's a no-brainer. Pick this up. It is still sealed, but as soon as I get done with Trails of Cold Steel, I will start it up. That is Bravely Second Inlayer. Really, really dug Bravely Default. Even though, yes, that one chapter was ridiculous, but I powered through it and got through it, and really enjoyed my time with it. So I'm really looking forward to this one, and from what people say, it's pretty good as well. So. Also, I found some, I guess, crack at the local GameStop. Walked in there, not planning on buying any of these, but then I saw these two on the rack, and yes, I did buy that heroine that is known as Amiibos, and I did get a Roy figure, and I got a Ryu figure. So I'm going to add those up there to my collection of Amiibos, which I don't really seek Amiibos out, but if I see ones that I want to get on a peg, I'll grab them. Other than that, the only other thing I got was Salt and Sanctuary on the PS4. It's a fantastic 2D Dark Souls-esque game. I also did a game discussion on that. It's in my videos if you guys want to go watch that. I really dug Salt and Sanctuary. And whereas I feel like the Salt and Sanctuary guys really understood what makes Souls great, as opposed to Neo, which is coming out, which is a demo. I did a demo discussion on it. I really feel like that's just like trying to ape the Souls series without really understanding what makes it great. But Salt and Sanctuary was fantastic. Movie wise, picked up probably four movies that I think most people would have picked up. I picked up The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 because my girlfriend really loves The Hunger Games, and unfortunately the Blu-ray in this one has a big nick in it from the factory, so we had to watch the DVD. But I lost the receipt somewhere, and it's not that big of a deal because I bought them more for her. She doesn't really care about Blu-ray as much as I do, so I'm not going to worry about buying another one. But it was a good ending to the series. I don't know, it didn't like blow me away or anything. It was just like, oh yeah, that was a good, enjoyable movie. It didn't really, I guess, blow my mind or anything, but I did enjoy watching it. I enjoyed watching through the entire series. Probably the three big movies of last year, but of like the fall, Christmassy, winter season. Picked all these up. And of course, I had to get Star Wars The Force Awakens. I absolutely loved it. I don't know what everyone's bitching about. It just seems like I just can't like listen to mass opinion anymore because it just seems like everyone bitches about everything. And everyone was bitching about this. Oh, it's too close to A New Hope. Well, I want something different. Well, the prequels were fucking different, and everyone went ape shit over that. It's like no one can just be happy anymore. Just be happy there's fucking Star Wars movies out, and it was actually pretty damn good. Really love this one. I've watched it several times since buying it, and I watch it several times more, and I can't wait until episode 8. And actually, the trailer for Rogue One, which I had no interest in, actually looks really good, and I'm probably going to go see Rogue One as well. But the whole thing with bitching is brought up yesterday as well, because somebody on a Facebook like posted something about the Ghostbusters trailer and about how everyone's hating on the Ghostbusters trailer. And I'm just like, why? It's a trailer. It's not completely indicative of how the movie's going to be, one. And two, what in that trailer is so goddamn offensive to your delicate sensibilities of what Ghostbusters was? Because when I was 6 years old, I wanted to be a Ghostbuster. I thought that was a valid career choice as a 6-year-old. So I go way back with this shit. I watched all of the real Ghostbusters. I watched the movies nonstop. I love Ghostbusters. And I watched this and I'm like, yeah, all right. It looks okay. We'll see how it goes. I know it's a trailer. But I didn't see anything that was horrific in that trailer. But everyone just seems to want to bitch about something. So, soapbox. Sorry. Anyway, continuing on. The Hateful Eight. I like this movie a lot, but at the same time, it's kind of like watching Death Proof after you've watched the Kill Bill movies and being like, it's not as good as Kill Bill, and then you watch it like a couple years later and you're like, Death Proof is fucking amazing. Coming off of Django, The Hateful Eight is maybe a little bit of a disappointment, but I feel like somewhere down the line, I'm going to throw this back in, just be like, let's just watch The Hateful Eight. And I'm going to be like, oh my God, the writing is so good. But compared to other Tarantino movies, it gets a little boring because you're stuck in that haberdashery almost the entire movie. And anytime you go out of that little space, it's like, oh my God, what movie is this? And then you go right back into the haberdashery and people sitting around talking. And, Tarantino knows how to write dialogue, but at the same time, it feels a bit more like a play than it does a film. And that's fine. I don't know what the big deal was with shooting this in 70 millimeter though, because again, you're just in the haberdashery the entire time. So it's like, it feels like the 70 millimeter thing was just a stunt and was kind of wasted. Like Django would have been a better movie to do 70 millimeter on than The Hateful Eight, but it's Tarantino. What are you going to do? another great movie that came out last year. Of course, it won, a lot of awards. I really wish, though, that Fury Road would have beat it for Best Picture, but whatever. Or not, no, this didn't win Best Picture. It was Spotlight, which I didn't see, but I'm thinking, like, Best Picture, that's like the all-encompassing package, not just the story, that's for the writers. The all-encompassing package, like, is Spotlight really a better crafted movie than Fury Road? I don't know, but whatever. But anyway, The Revenant. Saw this in theaters. The bear attack scene was insane, and I got like all sweaty during it, like a cold sweat, because I can watch. I work in a hospital, a level 3 trauma center. I see some messed up stuff. I can watch basically anything. I work in OR. I watch people get cut open. It's not until my brain starts thinking about how much something would hurt, and then I start getting like sweaty and clammy. And the bear attack scene, for some reason, was just really, really intense for me. And I was just sitting there like, oh my God, that'd be terrible to be attacked by a bear. And my brain just like clicked over this switch that just like drenched me in sweat. It was an awful experience. But the movie was really good, and the cinematography was fantastic. This movie kind of feels like a Terrence Malick film, if you're into that kind of stuff. But maybe a little bit more coherent than a Terrence Malick film. But I really love Tom Hardy. Leo does a great job. Finally wins the Oscar for something. I think he probably should have won the Oscar for another film. But in the making of The Craft, I mean, you gotta, award the actor for everything. So I guess The Revenant would be a very fitting role for him to win for. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I wish this had more behind the scenes stuff. But I guess I don't really know. I mean, the World Unseen documentary is really cool, but I don't know. There's just something more about. I want to know more about the film, the making of the film. Which, who knows? There might be maybe somewhere down the road the Criterion Collection will release it and do some good bonus features for it or something. But it is a really, really excellent film. And then finally, in the music, picked up a lot of vinyl this time. First off, this band came to me as a recommendation from Ultimate Floyd. And I picked up one of their albums and just fell in love with them, and then went crazy and bought all their albums. And that band is Deafheaven. And so I bought the demo on iTunes because I was going to buy the vinyl version, and Amazon was sold out, and I was just like, fuck it, I want it now. It's only, $8 on iTunes, so I just bought it on there. And then I went about buying all their albums on vinyl because I like them that much. So I got Roads to Judah, Sunbather, and New Bermuda. And New Bermuda was actually the first one I bought, because that's one my record store had there on vinyl. And I just instantly fell in love with them. They're like a mix of black metal, Explosions in the Sky, Godspeed You Black Emperor. Like, I used to love post-rock. I used to be really into post-rock. And I still really do like it. So to mix those two things, it was what I was looking for at the time without even really knowing it. So a big thanks to Ultimate Floyd 1 for turning me on to those guys. And it actually pushed me into a very atmospheric black metal direction, because I found that's sort of my genre of the outcropping of black metal, is I really like that atmospheric black metal. So I also picked up Wilderness King's Mystic Future. And really, really good album. Really enjoy Wilderness King. I forgot to write down their name. Like, Anna Norsis. Their album Beyond All Light. That was really good too. I forgot to write that one down. But that atmospheric black metal path. That's the one I need to go down. So, really glad that Ultimate Floyd pointed me in the direction of Deafheaven, because it's actually pushed me down a road that I really like to go down. But let's get this video done, because we're just going on here. I also picked up Explosions in the Sky, The Wilderness. Really good album. a bit different for Explosions in the Sky because it's more kind of an electronic based album. It's not as bombastic, not as epic as previous albums, which I think is a smart direction because I think maybe it was getting a little stale and they needed to do something a bit different. They needed to take a little bit of a left turn. And while I don't know if The Wilderness will go down as one of their best albums, I do think it was an album that they needed to make at this time to sort of shift things a little bit dynamically. That being said, you can see here, very intricate. I'm not going to open this thing up because the packaging just drives me nuts. It took me about the entire... once I put the record on and started playing it, it took me about the entire length of the album to get the records back in the package once I was done. Between this and Take Care, Take Care, Take Care, which is their album that came out before this, the packagings are just getting insane with these guys. And there's something to be said for just a simple vinyl slipcover. But anyway, really great album. And then the final thing I got to talk about, I picked up a couple of country albums, which country is not a big genre with me. I like about maybe 2% of it, and most of that 2% comes from like the 70s. So to find a new artist that I actually really dig is kind of a cool thing. And that artist is Sturgill Simpson. He just released his A Sailor's Guide to the Earth, and it was on iTunes for $10. And I was like, I looked at the cover art, and I always do this with new things, and it never steers me wrong. Usually if I get into something I don't know, but if it has cool cover art, I've never gone wrong with buying an album based on the cover art. And so I bought this album based on the cover art, and I got into it. And, in places it's very country-esque, but he also does like a cover of Nirvana's In Bloom. And I was like, who would do this? And then I started listening to the lyrics, and especially when you get to the last song, A Call to Arms. And it's like, it's a very anti-war song. And I'm so used to like country music being rah, patriotism, that, to have somebody write like an anti-war country song is kind of mind-blowing in this environment nowadays. Because I live in a very rural, conservative part of Ohio. So, all around me is just Toby Keith sticking a boot in someone's ass. So to have that is like really awesome for some reason. And when I read into him, he was actually in the Navy, so it's like he knows what he's talking about, So based on that, I bought the album that came out before that, which was, and I'm going to mess up this title, Meta-Modern Sounds in Country Music. And the first song, he's singing about like Buddha and doing like LSD and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm so used to like conservative, like God country music that it's like to hear him sing about Buddha and other religions and then being like, it's all a bunch of hogwash. I just believe in turtles. It's really kind of a cool, mind-blowing thing because country is something that I kind of just ignore. And I guess that there is like the only country I really listen to is like the old stuff like Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson and, things like that. And because that's what I grew up with. That's what, my grandparents played. And that's what my parents played. So that's, kind of what I'm used to. And then like all this poppy country stuff now and like these bands, what was it? Like Rascal Flatts covered they covered Born in the USA. And they kind of completely missed Springsteen's point with the song and sang it as like this really like patriotic song, which it's not. It's actually kind of tearing down that idea of, patriotism and stuff. But just, this sort of tone-deaf country music. And then to have somebody that like country music that actually kind of speaks to me a little bit, it's kind of a weird and cool thing. So anyway, Sturgill Simpson, if you haven't listened to him, definitely check out some of his stuff. But that is it for this video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.